Oh, probably greedy, but I'm preaching to our team right now to be very greedy. We shouldn't have lost the 3 matches that we lost. Obviously at 84 we knew we were outmatched, but we shouldn't have lost at 25. We shouldn't have lost at 57. We shouldn't have lost at 97. We had our opportunities in all 3 of those matches and didn't capitalize. The good side of it is, we can learn from it, and hopefully, along with being greedy, you got to be hungry and you got to want that match back in Tulsa in a month or less than a month, I guess now. So, I hope those guys have that. Kyson and Julian, have really done a really good job the last couple of weeks. I always say that you got to hang into something. You got to really commit to something for 30 days before you maybe see the results you want to see, and they're about halfway through that process. So I like the last 2 weeks that they've had. We just need to keep that going. And I think, Chittum got beat by a good wrestler, but he kind of beat himself there, and that's part of being a freshman. You saw freshman mistakes on both sides, but, and the other part too is at 25 and 57, we couldn't get away at critical times. I mean, Kyson lost. It wouldn't even went to the end, or wouldn't have went to overtime if we would have got out. We lost riding time there, and then Chittum, gets away, or Chittum can't get away at the end there, and then on top of it gets tilted. So that's on me. I got to make sure that we spend more time at the bottom. So this week will be bottom camp at Iowa State. We're going to be in the bottom for 5 days. So we know where, that's why you wrestle big matches. You figure out where your chink is, and that's our chink. So, but good atmosphere. I really like this team. I think we got even the guys that I mentioned. I don't think Kyson's that far away, and I know Chittum's not. So you all go.
What did you see in the Echemendia Happel match? That was obviously back and forth the whole way. Both guys were letting it loose, and then obviously Echemendia gets the final takedown last 20 seconds.
Yeah, that was a good win, wasn't it? I think that was an exciting match. Good win. He works hard. It's really important to him. He's a disciple of what it takes to win at this level, and he's had to make adjustments, and wrestled him back in early December and didn't like the result and got a chance. And we sat him out last weekend. He was a little bit banged up, and maybe more a little bit mentally banged up, and I sensed that, and so I sat him just because I wanted him to get a little fresher mentally, and it looked like it worked today. Sometimes you're a genius, sometimes you're an idiot. So I think I probably did both today.
When Casey and Anthony spoke, Casey, I think, thanked Anthony for the first time. He said, for going to 141, and they shook hands. I mean, what's that relationship been like? And then obviously they kind of a team first approach on that, but then it seems to be benefiting them in the individual front as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they buried the hatchet after trying to beat each other up in the locker room for over a year and everywhere else in town and in practices. So, they're 2 competitive alpha males, and neither one of them want to give an inch, and that's probably why they're both this week will be ranked in the top 5 or 6 in the nation. And that's the only way to get there, is there's got to be some savage in you, and if you don't have that savage in you, it's sure hard to get that top 5 or 6. So we just have to make sure we keep that savage on the right side of the course, not the wrong side of the course. But I think Casey's really, Anthony made the choice to go to 141. He could have said, I'm going 149. So when he made that choice, I think he drew a whole lot of respect from Casey. So, but they got along, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. I haven't seen that yet. So I'm going to have to watch.
What's it like for you to watch MJ Gaitan?
MJ was sick this week a little bit. We got sickness a lot this week, so I knew his tank was going to be a little suspect. Casey got sick. We just had a bug going around our team. David was sick. We had like 4 guys that were sick this week out of the starters, and so I was afraid of MJ getting in a firefight, which is what he always does, that he might not have the tank he needed to in the 3rd period. So I was trying to get him to just try to be normal for 2 minutes, just to get the win and just don't roll around, because I knew if he got in a bad position that last minute, he might have got pinned, because you got 2 guys. That Sima kid's a pinner too. So I think MJ probably sells a lot of tickets for us, because he's good. He's fun to watch.
When it comes to David Carr, he had a great win today as expected. What is it like coaching him in these matches?
Well, David's almost like a player coach at this point. He's his 6th year. He's been the national champion. He's been the national runner-up. He's got a 3rd. I think right now just making sure we keep David at the tip-top shape, because if he goes out and can throw it out there the whole time, nobody beats him. I don't care. I'll put it out there publicly that if he goes out and he feels good for 7 minutes, nobody can stay with him as a wrestler. He's the best wrestler there. Now the best wrestler doesn't always win the weight. So we got to make sure we just got him ready to go, and yeah, we're gonna miss him.
When several of you guys showed up with that hair dye job,
Jeez.
whenever that was, what was your reaction?
Well, we have a team text that we just, the last 48 hours, we always put together a team text, and and it's just all the guys weighing in, and Metcalf and St. John and myself, so there's like 13, 14 guys on it. And so last night I got a text of Eminem, a song Eminem, and I'm like, I didn't know what the heck that meant. And I thought they were just playing, because we send goofy stuff on there sometimes, and I thought maybe it's just, we talk about old school all the time. I go, that was 2000. They sent me a video from 2000. And then we got to breakfast at 7 o'clock, and one just kept coming in after the other. So I said, we're either gonna wrestle like a high school team, or we're gonna look really, really loose, like laid back, like just chilled. So I guess it was a little bit of both, maybe.
Tate, coming out the last couple matches, I mean, today against Parker, I mean, you mentioned he was outmatched there, but he did.
No, he competes hard. He competes hard. If he wants to be the guy in the spotlight down the road, he just got to get a lot better at wrestling. He likes wrestling. He works really hard, but the skill level's just not there yet. It's just because he's young, but he's gonna, he's got to spend a lot of time in the wrestling room, but that's what the great ones do.
What was it about Evan Frost? I mean, you mentioned him as a freshman. You're trying to, get him to be more consistent. For him to, it looked like he was going to go down 6-0, and then he kind of.
Yeah, he turned that around. He got in a scramble. And that guy had nothing to lose. We beat him up pretty good in Las Vegas too, and so it was good for Evan to, he doesn't get too rattled. He has the same temperament all the time, and sometimes I'd like him to get a little more excited, but he did a good job. He's got gonna have a big match coming up here once we get to the Big 12s and stuff like that. I'm curious to watch him down the run.
You mentioned it was a couple months back how younger you want to see him take better shots and be a little more, conservative on that. But how have you felt he's progressed?
Oh, I think he is. I think he does. Younger just goes out there and lets it fly, and figures out a way to get out of situations. So yeah, he's gonna get tested once we get to Big 12 too. So I mean, I know Missouri's got a big senior Elam that he's gonna get that's really hard to score on. Doesn't do much. I mean, doesn't do a lot, and so that'll be interesting.
Coach, with how close these guys are, I mean, they're dyeing their hair blonde, and they've talked about it with us in availabilities. As you guys head into the last duel of the season, how important has it been to have them be this close?
I think it's good right now. I think, they cheer for each other, they pull for each other. And even, you got Cuba and Michigan, and, you got all these guys from all over, but they've really got a common goal right now. I mean, they really want to win the Big 12s, and they want to get to the NCAA tournament and compete for the top spot. And we talk about it all the time. And so they have something to bond over, and then they bonded over that right now.